Open Stax Psychology Chapter 7. Thinking and Intelligence. Introduction. Why is it so difficult to break habits? Like reaching for your ringing phone even when you shouldn't, such as when you're driving. How does a person who has never seen or touched snow in real life develop an understanding of the concept of snow? How do young children acquire the ability to learn language with no formal introduction? Psychologists who study thinking explore questions like these. Cognitive psychologists also study intelligence. What is intelligence and how does it vary from person to person? Are street smarts a kind of intelligence? And if so, how do they relate to other types of intelligence? What does an IQ test really measure? These questions are more will be explored in this chapter as you study thinking and intelligence. In another chapter, we discuss the cognitive processes of perception, learning, and memory. In this chapter, we will focus on high-level cognitive processes. As a part of this discussion, we will consider thinking and briefly explore the development and use of language. We will also discuss problem solving and creativity before ending with a discussion of how intelligence is measured and how our biology and environment interact to affect intelligence. After finishing this chapter, you will have a greater appreciation of the higher level cognitive processes that contribute to our distinctiveness as a species. Section 7.1. What is cognition? Imagine all of your thoughts as if they were physical entities, swirling rapidly inside your mind. How is it possible that the brain is able to move from one thought to the next in an organized, orderly fashion? The brain is endlessly perceiving, processing, planning, organizing, and remembering. It is always active. Yet you do not notice most of your brain's activities as you move throughout your daily routine. This is only one facet of the complex process involved in cognition. Simply put, cognition is thinking and encompassing the process associated with perception, knowledge, problem solving, judgment, language, and memory. Scientists who study cognition are searching for ways to understand how to integrate, organize, and utilize our conscious cognitive experiences without being aware of all the unconscious work that our brains are doing. Cognition. Upon walking each morning, you begin thinking, contemplating the tasks that you must complete that day. In what order should you run your errands? Should you go to the bank, the cleaners, or the grocery store first? Can you get these things done before you head to class, or will they need to wait until school is done? These thoughts are one example of cognition at work. Exceptionally complex cognition is an essential feature of human consciousness, yet not all aspects of cognition are consciously experienced. Cognitive psychology is the field of psychology dedicated to examining how people think. It attempts to explain how and why we think the way we do by studying the interactions among human thinking, emotion, creativity, language, and problem solving, in addition to other cognitive processes. Cognitive psychologists strive to determine the measure different types of intelligence, why some people are better at problem solving than others, and how emotional intelligence affects the success in the workplace. Among countless other topics, they also sometimes focus on how we recognize thoughts and information gathered from our environments into meaningful categories of thoughts, which we discuss later. Concepts and prototypes. The human nervous system is capable of handling endless streams of information. The senses serve as the interface between the mind and the external environment, receiving stimuli and translating into nervous impulses that are transmitted to the brain. The brain then processes this information and uses the relevant pieces to create thoughts, which can then be expressed through language or stored in memory for future use. To make this process more complex, the brain does not gather information from external environments only. When thoughts are formed, the brain also pulls information from emotion and memories. Emotion and memories are powerful influences on both our thoughts and behaviors. In order to organize this staggering amount of information, the brain has developed a file cabinet of sorts in the mind. The different files stored in the file cabinet are called concepts. Concepts are categories or groupings of linguistic information, images, ideas, or memories, such as life experiences. Concepts are, in many ways, big ideas that are generated by observing details and categorizing and combining these details into cognitive structures. You use concepts to see the relationship among the different elements of your experience and to keep the information in your mind organized and accessible. Concepts are informed by our semantic memory and are present in every aspect of our life. However, one of the easiest places to notice concepts is inside a classroom, where they are discussed explicitly. When you study U.S. history, for example, you learn about more than just individual events that happened in America's past. You absorb a large quantity of information by listening to and participating in discussions, examining maps, and reading first-hand accounts of people's lives. These details and develops an overall understanding of American history. In the process, your brain gathers details that inform and refine your understanding of related concepts like democracy, power, and freedom. Concepts can be complex and abstract, like justice, or more concrete, like types of birds. In psychology, for example, Piaget's stage of developments are abstract concepts. Some concepts, like tolerance, are agreed upon by many people because they have been used in various ways over many years. Other concepts, like the characteristics of your ideal friend or your family birthdays traditions, are personal and individualized. In this way, concepts touch every aspect of our lives, from our many daily routines to the guiding principles behind the way governments function. Another technique used by our brain to organize information is the identification of prototypes for the concepts you have developed. A prototype is the best example or representation of a concept. For example, for the category of civil disobedience, your prototype could be Rosa Parks. Her peaceful resistance to segregation on a city bus in Montgomery, Alabama, is a recognizable example of civil disobedience. Or your prototype could be Mohandas Gandhi, sometimes called Mahatma Gandhi. Mohandas Gandhi has served as a nonviolent force for independence for India, while simultaneously demanding that Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, and Christian leaders, both Indian and British, collaborate peacefully. Although he was not always successful in preventing violence around him, his life provides a steadfast example of the civil disobedience prototype. Just as concepts can be abstract or concrete, we can make a distinction between concepts that are functions of our direct experience with the world and those that are more artificial in nature. Natural and artificial concepts. In psychology, concepts can be divided into two categories, natural and artificial. Natural concepts are created naturally through your experience and can be developed from either direct or indirect experiences. For example, if you live in Essex Junction, Vermont, you have probably had a lot of direct experience with snow. You've watched it fall from the sky, you've seen lightly falling snow that barely covers the windshield of your car, and you've shoveled out 18 inches of fluffy white snow as you've thought. This is perfect for skiing. You've thrown snowballs at your best friend and gone sledding down the steepest hill in town. In short, you know snow. You know what it looks like, smells like, tastes like, and feels like. If, however, you've lived your whole life on the island of St. Vincent in the Caribbean, you may never have actually seen snow, much less tasted, smelled, or touched it. You know snow from indirect experience of seeing pictures of falling snow or watching films that feature snow as part of the setting. Either way, snow is a natural concept because you can construct an understanding of it through direct observation or experience of snow. An artificial concept, on the other hand, is a concept that is defined by a specific set of characteristics. Various properties of geometric shapes, like squares and triangles, serve as useful examples of artificial concepts. A triangle always has 3 angles and 3 sides. A square always has 4 equal sides and 4 right angles. Mathematical formulas like the equation of area, length times width, are artificial concepts defined by specific sets of characteristics that are always the same. Artificial concepts can enhance the understanding of a topic by building on one another. For example, before learning the concept of area of a square and the formula to find it, you must understand what a square is. Once the concept of area of a square is understood, an understanding of area of other geometric shapes can be built upon the original understanding of area. The use of artificial concepts to define an idea is crucial communicating with others and engaging in complex thoughts. According to Goldstone and Kirsten, concepts act as building blocks and can be connected in countless combinations to create complex thoughts. Schemata. A schema is a mental construct consisting of a cluster or collection of related concepts. There are many different types of schemata, and they all have one thing in common. Schemata are a method of organizing information that allows the brain to work more efficiently. When a schema is activated, the brain makes immediate assumptions about the person or object being observed.